All right, and we're live with some amazing Yu-Gi-Oh! Matches between our two operations members who definitely have played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before. We've got Vanilla Blanket with Exodia and Wits End with Dragonlink. As you can see, they're playing very, very well right now. We've already had one card activated.
One whole card.
Mm-hmm. In Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a lot. Well, so what are you excited to see from our Dragonlink player on this turn?
I don't know. I imagine lots of dragons.
I would like to see some. Ian, you having a little trouble there? Is there anything that you can do at all? Okay. How's that time looking? Yeah, okay. We're going for it, folks. This is the hallmark of a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, scoping out all of your plays before making them, thinking really, really hard and critically about what you're going to do. Now, of course, this is these players' first time with these decks. We wanted to make it interesting.
Of course.
And also their first time with this simulator and this game in general. But they do have some strong competitive backgrounds. Ian, of course, a renowned Magic player for playing Magic.
That is what Magic players are typically renowned for.
Okay, and there we go. That was the end phase. Perfect. Okay, so that's a really good setup if you want to die. All right, but let's see what the Danger Exodia player does with an open board here. Now, Vanilla Blanket, of course, has a amazing, very important background in Slappy Ball. Now, the skills really do transfer.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds very similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, like the same sort of gameplay and...
Yeah. So we're seeing some cards set here. Interesting. I think they're trying to play around the fact that they can discard certain cards from their hand if they don't hit them. So they hit the Thunder Dragon there and special summon the Wolfman. That's pretty good. Okay, so that's already 2,400 damage on field. Of course, 8,000 will be enough to defeat Wits End, unless they've got some sort of hand trap or something that prevents them from taking battle damage. We'll see.
Right.
Okay, so that's one monster on the field already, and it's only turn 2.
Now, my understanding is that you can only put one monster on the field per turn. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can only normal summon once per turn. Of course, you can special summon theoretically infinitely many times per turn, and in practice, infinitely many times per turn. So neither player used their normal summon on either of their turns so far. And you'll see Zach here activating Toon Table of Contents, potentially getting a very powerful card from their deck, such as Toon Table of Contents, because it's not once per turn, can be activated twice more in a row. So they're just deck thinning here, attempting to get a better card to their hand, and in which case they'll end on Toon Gemini Elf, which, when it does battle, draws them a card.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is that, unlike Magic, card draw in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a much more powerful effect.
Yes. You'll see. Okay, so that's a little bit inoptimal. You should be using Toon Table of Contents to get Toon Table of Contents to get Toon Table of Contents to get Toon Gemini Elf, but...
To reduce the number of cards in your deck so that you're drawing better cards.
Exactly. But that's okay, unless they drew the other two Toon Tables of Contents, in which case that was an optimal play. Please tell me you did not draw the other two Toon Tables of Contents. That's okay. All right. It seems like maybe that was just a misplay. They didn't realize they were playing copies 2 and 3 of Toon Table of Contents. Now they've got the Toon Gemini Elf, and as you can see, when this is summoned, it cannot attack. But afterwards, if they do any battle damage, they get to discard a card from their opponent's hand, which is pretty strong.
I see, which seems like a pretty good effect.
Mm-hmm. Also, it has 1,900 attack.
1,900 is not that big.
It's not that small, neither. Especially since a lot of dinkier monsters tend to get left on the field in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks to, like, Link monsters that have very strong effects or what have you.
I see.
What did you say? You click on it in your hand. Yeah. It's like Hearthstone or Master Duel. I'm going to be back in 1 second. Yes. 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 Yes, technically, but like no. Okay, and there's a Bestial Druid Swarm coming down, removing the Thunder Dragon from the graveyard. This is incredible. As you can see, that's currently the biggest monster on the field, which might just matter more than anything else right now. All right, let's see what these players are doing. Okay, there's another card drawn. That's Upstart Goblin. 1,000 life points for Ian, but Zach gets another card to look at. And as we all know, more cards is more cards. More cards is more cards. Yeah, there's a reason that card is limited to 1 copy per deck, because if you could just thin your deck by 3 cards. Oh no, that's a Droll and Lockbird. I see. I think that might just lock Zach out of this game for the next while. Could you tell us a little bit about what a Droll and Lockbird does and how that might lock Zach out of the game? Absolutely. So, first of all, let's just go over what Zach's win con is, right? He wants to draw out basically his entire deck by using various cards and effects that draw him cards or add cards from deck to hand, right? I see. Is he looking for anything in particular? Exodia, the forbidden one, of course. You know, if he gets all 5 pieces to his hand, he does just instantly win the game. So now, Droll and Lockbird, if a card has been added from the deck to the opponent's hand, except in the draw phase, can be sent from the hand to the graveyard to prevent the opponent from adding cards from their deck to their hand during the rest of that turn. I see. That does seem like it would, drawing them. That does seem like it would, you know, have the effect of locking out a deck that relies on drawing lots of cards. Yep. Yeah, it does tend to do that. So, a little concerning. Okay, going straight to battle here. Apparently wanting to clear one of these monsters before comboing off or something. Let's see what they do. So if they've got more Bestials clogging up their hand right now, they could actually go ahead and remove one of the Danger Dogman from the field to get a Dark Monster in the graveyard, which would allow them to summon another Bestial. That might be a decent option. Of course, they could also just go for the more damage on the Toon Gemini Elf. Both are solid. Let's see what they end up doing. Okay, and they're going for more damage with Toon Gemini Elf, probably revealing that they don't have another Bestial in hand. Or that they have a way to remove Danger Dogman separately. Right, if they had a way to remove Danger Dogman separately, then... Ooh, banishing the Druid Swarm for Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Interesting. Once per turn, that monster can special summon a dragon monster from hand or graveyard. Which they might be using to start off their combos if their hand's currently clogged with some huge level dragons. I see some powerful dragons. Yeah, some powerful dragons. Man, I feel like they might have bricked a little bit here because none of the cards that I've seen so far have been good starters. So, I mean, Boot Sector Launch isn't bad, but it's not... It's not the optimal starting play. It needs other cards to do anything. Yeah, and it's a card that you search out with your Link 1, which is what you'd prefer to do. Okay, Pot of Extravagance, banishing 6 cards to draw 2. That's a big cost. That is a big... Well, banishes 6 from the extra deck, which, let's be real, none of these cards were ever getting summoned. I see. Yeah. Okay, there's the Toon Table of Contents for the Toon Table of Contents. Enormous. The second Toon Table of Contents was probably just set. Let's be real. But, yeah, okay. We've got 5 cards in hand versus the opponent's 1. What can Zach do to make this work? What's happening? I'm going to go. I'm not worried. I'm so not worried about this. This is going to be an incredible duel. I can feel your intense calm. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, okay. This is exciting, folks. Now, are there any Magic cards that you'd like to see in this duel of Yu-Gi-Oh? Magic cards that I'd like to see in this duel of Yu-Gi-Oh? Yeah. Island is a pretty good one. I would love to see an Island Resolve on either side of the field. It's a classic. Yeah, it is. I think Jace the Mind Sculptor might do well here. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Yeah. Planeswalkers would be pretty powerful in this format. That's possible, yeah. Oh, here we go. Kashtira Riseheart, a card that I did not know was in this deck. Okay, let's see. I don't know what the... Oh, man. Okay, wow. This is cool. So they're going to get a Kashtira card from their deck to banish the top 3 cards of the opponent's deck. Wow. And then it'll become a level 7. And then they can make a rank 7, possibly overlaying for, I don't know, some monster. I don't know what they would do here. What are they going to do? What is Zach playing at? Oh, that's a defense position, Dogman. Okay. You clicked on it. You did?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Now remind me, what are the implications of that Dogman being in defense position?
It implies that Zach does not believe that he can beat over the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon this turn. Otherwise, he would keep it in that position to go for damage. But here, it might not matter, because if he makes a rank 7, potentially, if he didn't banish it from his extra deck, that could be really cool. So it doesn't look like he has one, unfortunately. But he does get to banish some cards from the opponent's deck, potentially some good starters or extenders or something like that. Just kind of messing with their draws, you know. Let's see what it...
Right, I mean, even just milling is a pretty...
Now, of course, this is 60-card Dragonlink. Or 50-something card Dragonlink. What? How many cards were in your starting deck? Yeah. You have 47 in your deck right now. That a strange amount of cards, to be sure. Is that the classic 57 card or 56 card special? No, that is the 57 card special. Enormous. They couldn't figure out the last 3 cards to put in to make it an even 60, so 57's optimal. Weird. 2 sets. Interesting. And not a dragon in sight.
For a deck called Dragonlink, that does seem pretty worrying.
Yeah, I would be worried too if I didn't have a 2800 attack monster on the field.
That is true.
Against a deck that doesn't really try to win during the battle phase. Let's see what he is intending to do here. Okay. Yep, straight to battle. Okay. Boom, 1300.
1300.
Powerful stuff, powerful stuff. Man. Had to get rid of that Rise Heart. Couldn't afford to keep losing cards from their deck. That could have been... What? So the one that's 4 that's face down is banished. You can't work with those. Yeah. It's like Exile in Magic the Gathering. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So if they get some rocket monsters in the graveyard or just anywhere at all, if they get like any amount of monsters, we could see some very powerful stuff happening.
I see.
Lot of strong options.
Is this Boot Sector launch card going to let them sort of recur creatures from the graveyard back onto the battlefield, or?
Well, once they get creatures in the graveyard,
well,
maybe.
Naturally.
Yeah, potentially, and only specific ones, and only kind of bad ones. But yes.
Now, one thing that I am noticing is that we've been seeing this dragon on Ian's side attack into smaller monsters on the other side and deal damage to Vanilla Blanket.
Yes. You trample over monsters in attack position, and monsters in defense position prevent you from taking any damage, but cannot attack themselves.
I see.
Yeah, okay. So we see the second Thunder Dragon discard. Interesting. Okay. What? Yeah, you need to discard it by its own effect. Oh boy. Okay. Yes, it does. Thunder Dragon says discard this. If you could click on the Thunder Dragon right there, you can discard this card. Cost. Effect. Add up to 2 Thunder Dragons from your deck to your hand. Ooh. Chaos Dragon Legionnaire cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 light or dark monsters from your graveyard. Unfortunately, that is not a monster that can be revived with Red MD, also known as Dr. Red. But it would be nice if it could. Oh, and that's a target for Bestial Magnemite on the opponent's side. Yikes. You're special summoning the guy, Zach. Wow. Okay. Let's see. During the end phase of this turn, add 1 dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except Bestial Dragon Magnemite.
I see. So that's going to get Zach some dragons in hand.
That's going to get Zach more dragons. Okay. That's a dimensional barrier. That's not doing anything here. Zach's not going into the extra deck. Oh, and they're calling Ritual for some reason. That's the one that you really don't need to call ever. Especially against this deck. Wow. So now if Zach does end up going into a Ritual monster, they will not be able to do stuff with it. That's actually crazy. And that might come up, but it probably won't. I don't think there's a Ritual monster in either of these decks.
I see.
Ritual monster is notable for being the only card in Dimensional Barrier that is in the main deck and not the extra deck. Which means you need a Ritual spell and a Ritual monster in your hand to activate and summon it. Whereas with a Link monster or something, you can just like send the 2 guys that you have to the graveyard and make a dude.
I see. That definitely sounds like a lot more, a lot higher of a hurdle to...
Yeah, having 2 specific cards in hand is generally a lot harder than having any 2 guys on the field.
Now, do Ritual monsters see a lot less play in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of that? Or
absolutely they do. And the only ones that do see play tend to either be absurd, i.e. Draw like 2 cards and win the game and do a backflip, you know? Or cards that just basically cheat and say like, oh, you can special summon this card by like actually just like sending a monster from hand to graveyard. Or, you know, special summoning 3 guys to your field or some weird stuff. Drytrons used to be good, and they were technically a Ritual engine, and they only played like 2 Ritual cards. Notably, the Ritual monster that they summoned is Herald of Perfection, which non-once per turn allows you to discard a fairy monster from your hand to the graveyard to negate an opponent's anything that they do.
anything?
Anything. So like you've seen how many cards people have, like 4.
Yeah.
4 monsters in hand, which very easy with that engine. You just remove all of them, and then they go, and they can't do anything. Just every card that they activate just gets negated and banished. It's crazy. All right, and Zach has a pretty good field. Unfortunately, none of it's big enough to get over the 2800 monster. So either they might send some stuff to defense, or they could potentially be able to do something in attack. That's a Druid Swarm. What does this one do? Special summon. Target one special summon monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. If it's sent from the field to the graveyard. Interesting. So if that Bestial Druid Swarm leaves the field,
it'll be taking the red...
Yeah, it'll be taking Dr. Red with it. Starleaf Safert. Here we go. This is a real card. You can send any number of dragon monsters from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Add 1 dragon monster from your hand whose level is equal to the total original levels of those monsters sent. If they send the Starleaf Safert here, which would be, honestly, I think a fairly good play, they get to send any... They get to add any level 4 from their deck to the hand. Just pretty powerful. Yeah. 4. That was a real 4 moment. Wow. Are you learning so much about Yu-Gi-Oh?
I sure am.
Yeah. Starleaf Safert, the first real starter that Ian has gotten to see. Let's see what they get to do with it now. Show me the combos. I genuinely don't know what the correct search is. Black Dragon Collapse Serpent is pretty good. That banishes Starleaf Safert from the graveyard. Yeah. And that's going to be another monster that they get on the field, potentially even able to do some other stuff. They could even bring back Starleaf Safert with Dr. Red here, link it off for a monster, and then banish it for Collapse Serpent, potentially.
I see. That sounds like a pretty powerful engine for getting some starter things on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. There is a bunch of monsters they could link into. I think Rocket Funny Guy is a decent option, but the unfortunate thing about that is that it doesn't, what's it called? It searches boot sector launch, which is already here. So that's not really what you want to be doing. But there's probably something else interesting that they can make. Maybe a link to, I think maybe Romulus is a good option if you're playing Dragoonity Knight Romulus or something like that. What? They send it to the graveyard. Yeah. Yeah, so... Yeah, so they're going to send... If they decide to link something here, they might send those monsters to the graveyard, but then they'll be able to activate the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent in hand, or even get the Red MD back from their graveyard to their hand by banishing Starleaf Safer. Probably not the better option. I think the better option would be just to link off... Oh, straight to battle. Okay. Let's see what they end up doing here.
I see. Now, can a monster say that Starliege Seifert, if that were to attack, and I noticed that all of the other monsters are bigger than it.
Yeah.
If that were to attack, would that die, or...?
It would die, yes.
I see.
So that could be a way to send it from field to graveyard if they somehow don't have a way to link it off, but I'm pretty sure that they do. I would be surprised if they don't have any way to link off a Starliege Seifert on the field. We'll see. Okay, here we go. Main phase 2. They could be just making a Heroic Dragon of the Heavenly Spheres. That's a pretty solid option. I'm not going to lie. It allows you to bounce monsters from... Or it allows you to... Yeah, it bounces a monster and then special summons a monster from your deck. Yep, here we go. There's the Heroic Dragon of Heavenly Spheres. Erratic Seal. That could be tributed right now to return something to the hand, but the unfortunate thing is that both of these Bestials, you really don't want to give back to your opponent. Neither one really is something that you want to put in their hand too much.
Those have effects on play.
Those have effects that can activate to banish guys in your graveyard, which you don't really want. Now, we could see the Seifert here be banished to return... I don't think it returns from... Yeah, it just returns from graveyard, unfortunately. If they could get the Chaos Dragon Levianeer back into hand, back into rotation, that would be huge because this card is absolutely crazy. Yeah, you can destroy up to 2 cards of the field once per turn with it. And it has 3,000 attack. It's actually kind of insane. Yeah, so how are they going to out these Bestials here? Is the question right now.
Well, I look forward to seeing an answer.
Okay, and here we go. We're gonna get to find out soon enough, I guess. Now, what are those tiny little... The Heroic Dragon, or Heroic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres is quite a powerful card. Tributes itself, bounces a card to hand, special summons a dragon monster from your deck, makes its attack and defense equal to 0. There's a bunch of things that it can do. All right, here's the Danger Nessie. Let's see what this does. Okay. Okay. Tributing the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent from hand. Interesting. That's a choice. Okay.
I see. What did tributing that dragon do?
Well, it sent it to the graveyard, which I don't think was necessarily correct, because you special summon it from your hand by banishing something from your graveyard, and then it has an effect when sent from field to graveyard. The correct target is tributing the Heroic Seal, I think, generally, because it has an effect on tribute. Yeah. And now, because you bounce the Bestial back, they get to banish the Starliege Seifert to resummon it. So, yeah, here it is. There we go. And there's Danger Dogman back to hand. All right. Let's see what else happens here. Yikes. Okay. Danger Dogman coming down. All right. Has to choose another card to discard. Okay, Sangan. Normal summoned. Okay. You go to battle phase. BP. BP. Yep. Cool. All right. So
I see we're learning how to go to the battle phase.
We're learning how to go to the battle phase here.
That seems like an important mechanic in this game.
Yeah, but from a Slappy Ball player, I mean, that's understandable, you know. They don't really have a battle phase in that game as much. So.
I see. I was about to ask, you know, what's sort of the equivalence between, you know, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle phase and the Slappy Ball
of course,
phase.
The reason why, of course, Slappy Ball transfers very well to Yu-Gi-Oh!, particularly Exodia decks, is because in both games you want to have a very big hand. Oh, and the joke goes over well. Oh, Awesome. Okay. Now, Ian, only on 3,000 life points, going to have to make a bit of a comeback here. One set card for both players. I don't know if Zach's deck is actually running any traps at all, so I think that's probably just a tuned table of contents set.
I see. But is there any strategic advantage whatsoever to having a tune table of contents set?
Well, it's better than having it in your hand sometimes.
The fear factor, I suppose, of unknown cards set on the...
It is the fear factor. No.
It seems like we're making a lot of revelations about the mechanics of Yu-Gi-Oh! Today.
Yep. There are cards, in fact, that can only be activated when someone does something.
In response.
Yes, even.
Now, it looks like Ian is in a pretty tough position right now.
Yeah.
To do any damage... Oh, no, I guess not. He could attack through the monsters, but my understanding is that it's better to just directly attack.
Well, so you do actually have to attack through the monsters. You can't directly attack.
Will you?
Here we go. This is a starter. This is quick launch here. Let's go. Okay, so this special summons a rocket monster from the deck. I want to say Rocket Tracer is generally the correct choice, but there might be another one that I'm not familiar with.
And what would Rocket Tracer do for...
I don't know. It's there. You link it off into a guy. It probably does something. I don't know.
I see. Would that be a another combo effect with...
Here we go. Rocket Tracer.
Rocket Tracer.
Quick effect. You can target one card you control, destroy it, and if you do special summon one rocket monster from your deck. Okay, and they're going for it. Yep, okay. And they are going to be locked into dark monsters this turn. But this allows them to get 2 monsters into rotation, which you will notice if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. Special summon rocket monsters with different names in your graveyard in defense position up to the difference. Every rocket monster that they put in their graveyard right now, they can just special summon back with boots at their launch.
I see. That seems like a pretty powerful effect.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. So they get a rocket monster here. They link it off for something. Then they can special summon both back and go into some really big monsters.
Oh,
okay, here we go.
We're seeing a rocket recharger.
If a dark monster you control of a special summon from the Exodia deck is destroyed by a valid card effect, when you can set this card from your hand to your field to the graveyard, the target one of those destroyed monsters special summon. Okay.
It looks like this is taking things back from the graveyard.
Yeah, so this card doesn't do anything on the field. It only does stuff in the hand, but that's okay. It's on the field now, which means that it can be linked off for some link 1. If you click on your Exodia deck, you might be able to special summon something fun. There we go.
We're seeing it.
Here it is, Guard Dragon Pisty. This doesn't do anything other than exist as a monster on the field, which is fine because now we get to activate Boost Sector Launch, special summon 2 monsters from the graveyard, make a rank 3, or a link 3.
Right,
something
and
else interesting. Yeah, maybe a rank 4 would also work, or even literally just taking these 2 and synchro summoning. You could also here, you could synchro summon Borlo's Savage Dragon, but that card requires a link monster in the graveyard to activate its effect, which luckily we do have. We do have. I forgot about that. So that is an option, and it is 2 Omni Negates, which is pretty strong. So that might be a good option here. A solid extra deck summon. They could also make a rank 3 or a link 3. Sorry. Or make a rank 4 Xyz monster. All of those are options that they have available. Potentially even something from the hand could come down, or that set card that's been there could be activated. Okay, here we go. So they're making... Ooh, Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. Once per turn, you can destroy as many other special summon effect monsters on the field as possible with attack less than or equal to this card. Unfortunately, Bestial Druisworm going to immediately send that to the graveyard. That's a shame, but that is a significant out to their field. That is pretty good. And here's the triple tactics thrust. Oh my goodness, here it comes. They finally get to set a normal spell or trap directly from the deck. And because their opponent controls a monster, they can add it to their hand instead if they want to activate it this turn. So let's see what they get. Yeah, they could just get quick launch again because that's not a once per turn.
And that would get them some damage on the field, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. That's an option. They have selected to get Triple Tactics Talents, a card that also requires your opponent to activate a card or effect during your turn. And they did not elect to get it to their hand, which prevents them from activating it this turn as well. So, some interesting choices.
Right.
But this is definitely a simplified board state, 3,000 to 4,000.
And we did also see them set another card.
Yes, that is true. We'll see what these cards do. Yeah, but I mean, not a bad turn. That's a board clear from a pretty... Oh, hitting the head of Exodia. That's unfortunate. They've probably got a way to return it. But Danger Nessie coming down, 1,600, 1,000. Can Zach get another 400 damage on board? Because that will be enough to
If he can, that's game.
That's game. Does Ian have anything to prevent himself from dying? Let's find out. But my guess is no. I think Dragonlink's a little too combo deck to be focused on the battle phase too much. But show me that Mirror Force. Show me that random Mirror Force right now.
Okay. It's not looking good.
It's not looking better. All right,
and that's game
one. That's game one out of 3. Okay. All right, and what a match that was. Now players are going to go into the siding, where they get to decide what cards they want to pull in from their side deck to their main deck. What do you think players are going to be siding in here?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we saw a lot of these decks doing sort of their core. Maybe something that could help with that.
Yeah, I think Ian might be siding out some of the Triple Tactics cards, Triple Tactics Thrust, and Triple Tactics Talents, because Zach isn't activating too many cards or effects during his turn. And I know that the only cards that Zach has in his extra deck are Battle Fader. So we'll see what that does. But I think we may have seen some Triple Tactics cards removed from Ian's deck.
Right. So we're sort of seeing combat tricks removed in favor of combo pieces. Would that be an accurate description?
We're seeing interactions removed in favor of combo pieces.
Interactions.
Yeah. So hopefully we see some better hands here. Okay. Zach immediately normal summoning Sengen. Not a bad play. Activating the Thunder Dragon effect here to get 2 to hand. Okay, here we go. That's
I see,
2.
and that is all the Thunder Dragons in the decks.
Yep. Which means you don't draw them anymore. And Danger Dogman. Ooh, hits itself. That's unfortunate. You don't really want to see that. You want it to hit any other card, really. Yikes. Yep. And that's the turn. Okay. Let's see what Ian can do with a grip of 6 against a Sengen board. This is a pretty commanding position to be in. This is looking good for Ian.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Could easily end up winning on this turn potentially.
If we can see all the combo pieces come together.
Yes.
Now
we just need any of the 1-card starters, and then we're off to the races. Assuming Zach doesn't have much interruption.
Right. Which we haven't seen
We have seen the Bestials. Zach has activated a number of Bestials.
We have seen the Bestials.
Yeah, the Bestials, there might be some other stuff, but I would not be surprised if it's just Bestials that Zach is running. Okay, here we go. Rocket Tracer. That's a pretty good starter. Okay. Ooh, wow. Special summoning Absoluter Dragon. Okay. Controls a rocket monster, so he gets to special summon that from hand once per turn. Okay. And once Absoluter Dragon is sent from the field to the graveyard,
you can add one rocket monster from the deck to the hand.
Yeah, so that's a lot of resources that Ian's already generated. This can get its
right,
another
that
monster.
quick effect, it looks like it's going to...
Yep, here it goes, destroys itself. Could have also destroyed the Absoluter Dragon, actually.
Which would have procced it and the Absoluter Dragon.
Would have been very interesting to do. Ooh, Rocket Caliber, here we go. Okay, could have been special summoned Only special summon once per turn. You can tribute this card, special summon one dark monster or one machine monster from your hand, except itself. Can only be used once per turn. That's a pretty strong card effect. They might tribute it to get another guy out. We could also see linking something off here for the Link 1 that we saw last time that sets Boot Sector Launch. That's a very strong card to get. Getting Boot Sector Launch here would, of course, allow you to special summon some rockets from your hand.
And a power for early play.
Striker Dragon. Okay. Adds Boot Sector Launch from deck to hand. There we go. We see that. Of course, Boot Sector Launch also just good if the opponent gets very far ahead. But let's see what happens. Yeah, if they find a way to get Router Dragon off the field, they do get another. They can easily special summon it because Boot Sector Launch allows you to special summon a rocket monster from your hand. So let's see what they end up doing here. They've got to remove that Router Dragon from their side of the field. They do have 4 more cards in hand. Plenty of extenders or interruptions. Yeah, lots of options.
Mm-hmm. I suppose only time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Striker Dragon effect. Target one face-up monster and one rocket monster in your graveyard. Destroy the monster on the field. And if you do, add that monster from graveyard to hand. Ooh, there goes Router Dragon. Okay, here's the rocket monster being added from deck to hand. And that'll give them 2 rocket monsters with different names in their hand to special summon in defense position.
Right.
Which is a lot of monsters on the field. Now, they did normal summon Rocket Tracer, which is... that is using your normal summon, which is the only resource in Yu-Gi-Oh! But here, they will have 2 rocket monsters in hand, potentially able to make a Link 3, make something else. They've got monsters in graveyard, which means they can banish them for the effects of like Black Dragon, Collapse Serpent, White Dragon.
And Boot Sector Launch special from hand. It looks like we're going to see those 2 rocket monsters coming back.
Yep, let's see them. Oh, and there's the Rocket Recharger. Very cool, very cool. All right. Looks good. They could make a synchro here if they wanted to. I don't think the Red Dragon Scar Archfiend is particularly worth it, obviously, because that just blows up your Rocket Striker Dragon. Okay, let's see what they're making. That's Borreload Savage Dragon. No Link monster in graveyard, though. Does mean that it doesn't actually get its Omni Negate effect. Or its Burrow counters or anything. A little unfortunate. Should have waited to make a Link monster first and then summon that, but...
That's definitely a shame.
Mm-hmm. It is still 3...
It is still a big thing on the board.
It sure is. All right, and let's get these guys in. Okay, and that Sengen Search effect is going to activate. What do you think the target's going to be?
I was about to ask, what do you think we're going to be searching for on...
Potentially another Sengan is always an option. Yep.
Thinning out the deck?
Yep, yeah. Okay. Could just set the next one if they wanted to. Or they could normal summon the next Sengan, crash into Striker Dragon if it's still on the field, destroying both and getting another search.
That does seem like a...
Both are very good options, yeah. All right. Okay. And gets in for another 1,000.
We're going to see another 1,000, direct attack.
Kaboom.
This definitely looks like a stronger start for Ian.
Yes. This is a much better start. It's still not crazy, you know. It's only 4,000 damage, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah. Let's see what else I can do. Wow. Okay, and here comes Toon Table of Contents. Adding Toon Table of Contents. What do you think they're going to add off of this Toon Table of Contents?
If I'm correct, I think it might be a Toon Table of Contents.
Or they could, oh, yeah, set and activate. Toon Table of Contents. That's correct. Toon Table of Contents. Okay, setting. You don't need to set the cards first, Zach. You can just activate them. Nothing. You need to set them if you want them out of your hand, or you set them if they're trap cards. That's the only thing you need to do. Or they're quick play. Everything else you can just activate. Okay. Here we go. Going to battle. Are we going to see the Sengen crash into Striker Dragon, trading them both and getting a search? Is an option here. They could get an Exodia piece off of the Sengen. Oh, nope. Just go in straight to main 2. Oh, okay. And they're going to decide to pass the turn.
That is certainly an option.
Yeah. What? Banishing does not send to graveyard.
Banishing banishes.
Banishing banishes, which does not allow Sengen to get their trigger. That says spell and trap. Ian, that says spell and trap.
It does look like we've seen a misplay.
Well, that boot sector launch is gone now. That's unfortunate. I was enjoying looking at that background.
Does Yu-Gi-Oh not allow players to, fail to find?
Nope. There was a legal target.
That's
It
a
has
shame.
to be activated. Yep. I mean, the same is true in Magic the Gathering, actually.
That is true.
Interestingly enough, actually, in Yu-Gi-Oh, there was a card that says if a player fails to find this card in their deck, they take 2,000 life points. But if they would do that, it's an illegal activation in the first place. So you can't ever take 2,000 life points from that card's effect unless a player chains a card, removing every single monster from your deck. Like every single legal target from your deck, without milling you out, and then it resolves, and then you lose 2,000 life points. It's very funny.
I see.
It's very silly. Magic's technically more complex because it's Turing complete, but Yu-Gi-Oh is still very, very silly and nearly Turing complete. The only reason that Yu-Gi-Oh is not Turing complete is because it has 5 monster zones.
That would limit the amount of space that's available to have effects.
Yep, it is a little unfortunate, but it is still pretty cool. I do have to say. As you can see, like look at these creatures. Look at these funny guys on the battlefield. Don't you love them?
Creatures.
Monsters. Sorry. My apologies. I'm thinking of. I'm sorry. I meant to say Scrimblows.
Naturally,
Yeah.
the Scrimblows.
Yeah. Look at all these Scrimblows. What's up? Yes.
Yes.
Also, he will get the search. Okay.
Now, what do you think he's looking for here?
Well, I guess it's Danger Jackalope, but I
Jackalope.
would have thought it was a piece of Exodia, honestly.
This is looking like a pretty close game.
I don't think so. Although Vanilla Blanket does have a screaming 7 cards in hand, which is like
Could be all the pieces of Exodia right there.
it's not because it would have just instantly activated and we would have seen it, but
4 out of 5?
could be. Yeah,
Seems unlikely, but
does seem unlikely. But this is Zach that we're talking about, so anything is possible. Okay, Danger Jackalope getting special summoned. Not bad. There it goes. Let's see what else they end up doing. Okay. Bestial Lubellion. Here we go. You can set this card from hand to graveyard. Add 1 Bestial card from deck to hand. Wow.
I see those Bestials definitely were a big advantage for Zach in the last game.
Especially since the opponent's deck is mostly dark monsters. Ian's deck is mostly dark. So they could add a Druid Swarm here if they want to be annoying, or Magnamut to get another Bestial, or potentially like a lot of things. They've got many, many options here. Let's see what they end up going for. Now, the only thing about Bestial Druid Swarm here that is a little annoying is they would need a way to send it to the graveyard, to send that Boral Sword to the graveyard, or the Boar Load to the graveyard, because right now they can't clear it. But that would be a good option, I think.
If they can pull off that effect.
Yes, but there's probably a way that they can do it, I think. I would be genuinely surprised if there wasn't. But we shall see. Okay, there's the Druid Swarm.
There's the Druid Swarm.
Yep. I'm psychic. And they activate the Druid Swarm now yeah. Okay. Here it goes. Banishing just something from the opponent's graveyard. Okay, there goes Abs Router Dragon. Probably a good target. Yep. Okay. And all that they need to do is find a way to send it to the graveyard without taking too much damage, and they'll be good to go. Activating the Endangered Dogman and hitting it would actually do it, interestingly enough. Because I believe Endangered Dogman has like kind of a usually bad effect where, yeah, they lose 1,000 attack until end of turn if you discard it. Normally that's pretty bad, but if you hit the Endangered Dog man here, you do get to lower that guy down to 2,000, which is good enough for you to beat over. Another monster summoned. Are they going to be able to special summon anything from their extra deck maybe to take out that Borreload or send their Druid Swarm to graveyard?
Right, it seems like there's a lot at stake here just in terms of sort of clearing your own field.
There's a lot of cards that have effects when they're sent to graveyard, so a lot of it is trying to send your guys to graveyard to activate those effects. All right, I'm going to take a quick look and see what's happening.
A Nightmare Unicorn.
For sure now.
And this is for sure and out?
Oh, yes. This is for sure and out.
I see.
So,
what kind of out does it is it looking like?
So it's two kinds of outs, because Bestial Druid Swarm gets to target a special summon monster the opponent controls, send it to the graveyard.
Which is going to hit that Borreload.
It could.
Or it could hit.
But this also, when it's summoned, you get to discard a card, then target a card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. Now, you're probably going to want to do that to the monster that goes back to the main deck, I think. But
if that
it's strong
did
anyway.
target the Borreload, would that shuffle into the extra deck?
It would shuffle it. It would put it back into the extra deck, yes. What happened? You activated no effects?
I tried to act.
It looks like we have activated no effect.
That's unfortunate. That's okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, well, we all make mistakes, folks.
Did we just miss the effect on that?
We missed both effects.
Both effects?
Yep. Not just one, but both.
That is twice as many effects as I thought we'd missed.
Yeah. We did not do the Nightmare Unicorn, and we did not do the Druid Swarm. We decided to do neither. What did you click on? The X? The X? Oh.
And that's game.
Okay, and it's 1-1. Let's see if these players can really tighten things up in Game 3. I'm really excited for this, folks. What? 40.
40.
Yeah. Yeah, we do not know why that deck is 57 cards. It's very weird. You know what it might be? It might be that the side deck is just in the main deck right now.
That would do it.
Probably it. Yep. Methinks that the entire side deck was added to the main deck for some reason. Whoops. Oh well.
Now, in theory, that could have had implications on the the consistency of the deck.
I think it did in game 1, yes. I don't think in theory it had implications. I think it did have implications.
In practice, that had implications on.
Yeah. Certainly. Now, let's see if they can set out these cards. Okay, and we're going straight into game 3. This is for all the figgy pudding, of course.
Of course.
That's what Yu-Gi-Oh players play for, figgy pudding, as we all know.
I mean, as somebody who is not a Yu-Gi-Oh player myself, I couldn't say I was aware, but...
Well, what do Magic players play for? Like some non-figgy based pudding substitute? Oh, here we go. Dragon Ravine. This is a very good card. Activated to send a dragon monster from deck to graveyard. We do love a solid Foolish Burial effect, or yeah, I mean, you just get to activate like any card that you want off of Dragon Ravine now. It's a very, very strong card.
That does sound pretty strong.
What do you think they're going to send? That's
Rocket
the card
Tracer?
they discarded.
Oh, that's the card they discarded?
That's the card that they discarded for
I
the
see.
effect. Yep.
And they are...
let's hope they can...
Sending from the deck to the GUI.
Absa Router Dragon. Yeah.
Which does hit that effect, doesn't it?
Yep. Adds a rocket monster from deck to hand when it is sent to the graveyard. It's a very good target to send off of this. I think that is the correct play. Because notably, a lot of other cards just say something along the lines of when this card is sent from the field.
From the field to the graveyard.
Yeah, but the correct play, definitely sending the card that activates off of any send.
I think we might also have a few that say from hand to graveyard.
Yeah, some do. Some also have effects that activate and send themselves from hand to graveyard.
Right.
But yeah. I think there's even like the rare card that activates only on sending from deck to graveyard. I want to say Penguin Captain is one of them. Not like the good Penguin Soldier or any one of those cards. The card that like shuffles itself into your deck. The card that used to say form a new deck with those cards, joined with those cards. I'm going to look up that card text because it's really great.
Now, we've got two things in the graveyard and a rocket. Oh. We've got 2 rocket tracers in the graveyard.
Okay. Interesting.
What sort of...
Got Chaos Space currently resolving here. Okay. Oh, here's the White Dragon Wyver Burster. They're going to be able to special summon that by banishing a dark monster, potentially one of those 2 white rocket tracers. Or actually, the Absa Router Dragon would also be pretty good.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe the Router Dragon would be the correct target, no?
I think it is, yes.
We do have other effects in this deck that depend on rockets being in the graveyard.
Yes. Okay, and yeah, there we go. We see the Absa Router Dragon being removed. Here's White Dragon Wyver Burster. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, they get to add a Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, which banishes the White Dragon Wyver Burster to special summon itself. So there we go.
It looks like we are seeing a Striker Dragon.
Striker Dragon is very good. Okay, and they add the Boot Sector Launch, and they can target itself, add a rocket monster from graveyard to hand, destroy itself. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so this definitely looks like the start of a some kind of combo.
Mm-hmm. So destroying that Striker Dragon, they get to activate that, they get to activate that. So that's a Boot Sector Launch added to hand and a Black Dragon Collapse Serpent added to hand. Boot Sector Launch gets to be activated, Collapse Serpent gets to be special summoned. That's 2 more things. Boy, that's just like a lot of bodies, you know? Okay, and here is the Collapse Serpent summon. Are they going to activate the Striker Dragon to destroy itself, potentially, to get that Rocket Tracer back to hand, activate Boot Sector Launch to special summon it from hand? I don't think they've even used the normal summon yet, so they could just normal summon.
They could do that.
Yeah.
It all depends on what's in their hand.
They have a second rocket monster. They're in a very good position.
That does seem like it would be a very advantageous position. If they can, get more monsters on the field and, potentially make a pretty big attack this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go. This I finally found the card text of Penguin Knight, a card that says, when this card is sent directly from your deck to the graveyard by the effect of a card controlled by your opponent, unite your graveyard cards in your own deck. It really says that.
It really does.
Shuffle them and form a new deck. There was some absurd wording on it. I didn't remember what it was, but yeah. It's a silly card. All right, so you can, of course, activate your Boot Sector launch over your Striker Dragon if you so choose. They could activate the Striker Dragon here. We've got a great many options. Let's see what they end up doing. Okay, yeah, there's Boot Sector launch coming down. Now, they can only special summon rocket monsters from hand with its effect right now. But destroying the Striker Dragon would give them the option to special summon Rocket Tracer back. Which of course allows them to special summon something else from their deck. Yeah.
Right, okay. Or, with 3 or 4 monsters, if they get more monsters back on the field, then we could also see some Link summons or some
Synchro summons. Yeah. Okay, so they've got Rocket Tracer. Now, actually, very, very importantly, you'll notice that this prevents... Oh, no, never mind. Okay, I'm incorrect. Targeting Boot Sector launch here. Oh, interesting. Okay. So they destroyed the Boot Sector launch to get another monster, so they don't actually even have to destroy the rocket. Okay. Here we go. And now they've got 3 monsters on field. They can make a level 8 Synchro or a Link 2 and then something else. Plenty of options. Potentially even a rank 4 if they've got something that's good, but we haven't seen one yet, so I don't think they have anything too crazy. Let's see what they've got. And also, I think it's important to note, I don't think Zach has had any interruption yet, unfortunately, for him. Because a Bestial that would have banished the White Dragon Wyvern Burster probably would have slowed down.
Would have definitely slowed down some of this momentum.
Yeah.
Perhaps even stopped it in its tracks.
Oh, yes, potentially. But a very good hand from Ian here and some very strong plays has allowed him to put 3 monsters on field already. No normal summon used.
No normal summon used. We could see a 4th monster.
We could see many more than that even, potentially. Let's see what they go for. I think some of their Link 2s might be extenders even. They could extend a little further and just go like plus ultra to infinity, make a bunch of guys. Potentially a Borreload, Savage Dragon, and a Link 2 being used would be quite crazy. Okay, banishing Chaos Base from graveyard. Targeting a banished Light Dark monster. Placing it on the bottom of the deck and drawing a card. That's a pretty good play.
That is a pretty good play.
Because now, when this card goes from field to graveyard, they get to add the White Dragon Wyvern Burster back.
That'll do it.
Because these cards are both at 1, as far as I'm aware. Okay, wow. Banishing their own Rocket Tracer to extend with Bestial Druid Swarm. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah. The Druid Swarm, very strong card. Allows you to banish a light or dark to special summon it. Yikes. Okay, and now they've got their material. What are they going to do with it? They might make an extender, like we were saying, potentially using the level 6 and another monster to go into, I think Hieratic Dragon of Heavenly Seals and a Borreload Savage Dragon would be pretty hard for Zach to deal with.
That does sound pretty big.
That's a bounce and a special summon of a 0 attack monster, but a 0 attack monster that does something.
Right. Now, on the other hand, if we just look at attack power here, we've got a solid...
Now, they can't go to the battle phase this turn.
Ah, that's right. This is turn 1.
This is turn 1.
Yeah, in that case, maybe some of those more zero attack effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be worth it. Could be worth it here.
Yeah, could be a more effective choice.
Now, also, it is worth noting that when this is sent to graveyard, they do get another material in the White Dragon Wyver Burster that they get to add to hand. So it's more like they have 5 monsters on the field right now.
5 monsters.
Mm-hmm. All right, and let's see what they're going to end up doing with it. Just any monster summoned here is probably going to end up really doing some stuff for them. And they do have to look at time. They do have to be worried about time. Not too worried, of course, but... Okay, here we go. Pisty. Okay. Now, unfortunately, they would have needed to summon some other Link monsters to go with that, I think. If they really wanted to special summon that, but this doesn't matter too much. It's not a big deal. They're just recycling more resources, putting more guys in the graveyard. You know?
Ideal.
Yes. They might have another card in hand.
They have exactly 1 more card in hand.
Well, that an extender, I mean, but you know, who knows? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me try to trigger ones. Who knows what they're gonna do?
Only they do.
Mm-hmm. That is true. 4 on field. They can make a rank 8 or a level 10 or a level 8 synchro. Of course, I think making a Erratic Dragon of Heavenly Spheres with the Bestial Druid Swarm and the Guard Dragon Pisty is a pretty good play. It sends the Bestial to the graveyard, which isn't really too useful right now. You could also send the White Dragon Collapse Serpent. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh my goodness. Bestial Dispater. Okay. Can target a banished lighter dark monster. Special summon it to your side of the field. Wow, that's an extender. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target a banished card, shuffle it into the deck, and then if you shuffled it into your deck, destroy the monster, or if you shuffled an opponent's deck, negate the effect. That's pretty crazy. And they're ending their turn. Interesting. Not electing to extend more. They did have some options. Probably just running out of time there, I think, right? Yeah, okay. A little unfortunate, but this is a very strong monster.
We definitely do need to keep some eyes on time.
Yes, yes, we do. As much as you would like to read your cards, it is funnier if you don't. So.
That does seem to be the Yu-Gi-Oh! Player way.
Yep. Okay, here's Sengan. The classic normal summon.
Yep. Are we going to see some searching?
Potentially, if they go to battle and attack with Guard Dragon.
There's the Thunder Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Presumably, we're going to see 2 more Thunder Dragons.
Potentially. There's 2 more. That's good. You'll love to see it. All right, and now we're going to see some danger monsters be activated or some spell cards be activated or something. Let's see. Yep.
There's a Toon Table of Contents.
The classic.
Probably looking for Toon Table of Contents.
I would hope so.
Well, it could also be in their hand.
Ooh, Ash Blossom coming down, negating that effect. Okay, and they don't get the search off of that. But that's not a bad card to be Ash Blossomed, honestly. That's not too bad. You can generally deal with that. Okay. Danger Jackalope sending Legendary Exodia the Incarnate. Oof. Okay. I don't think this does anything too good, so that's kind of fine. They get to special summon the Danger Jackalope, and now they've got monsters on board for a rank 3, potentially, from their extra deck, which you can activate by clicking on the extra deck, I believe. You might be able to special summon something, potentially good even.
Right, and we definitely need to see some of that from...
Here we go. Here it is. Ooh, interesting. Nightmare Cerberus. When this card is link summoned, you discard a card, target a special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone. Boop, that guy. Then you can... Yeah, you discard this card, target a special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone, destroy it. Here we go. We're discarding one of the 2 Thunder Dragons. Makes sense. Targeting Bestial Dispater. Okay. Oh, an Imperm. Oh, no. Negating the Cerberus. Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
I see. It does look like we are seeing some, quite a bit of responses and preparation on.
But they do get the Exodia
inside.
from the Sengen, though. So
They
that's
do
good
get the
at least.
Exodia.
Yeah. Now they still have one interaction left. The Bestial Dissipator, of course, can still activate in response to a monster effect. Yikes. Kind of surprising that they decided to activate the Imperm first instead of the Dissipator.
Is the Imperm, is that a, sort of a more general effect? Or
So the reason that's surprising is because Bestial Dissipator can be used multiple times. It technically does have the resource of requiring you to return banished monsters to your deck, but there's no way you're not going to banish another monster next turn.
Right. Not in this deck.
Not in this deck. Yeah, you're going to have the resources for that. So it's a more commonly available resource. It's not a once and done sort of thing. Okay.
Right. But, again, is Imperm better? Is it a more powerful card? Is it, more effective?
It's about on even. I'd say it's about even with Bestial Dissipator. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was correct because if you want to obliterate, target a monster on the field, send a Forbidden One or Exodia card from your hand or deck to the graveyard. If you do, return that target to the hand. Goodbye, Bestial Dissipator. Wow. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Now, yikes. Okay. Yeah, it only negates monster effects, so that is a very clean out to it. Well played from Vanilla Blanket there, knowing that they had the outs to those cards. Okay. And let's see what Ian does in response. Potentially linking off for Heavenly Spheres or another strong link too. I still think they have Romulus. Okay. Tributes are summoning Bestial Lubellion, getting Rocket Caliber. Okay. Okay. Now, unfortunately for them, they have their zones that would be able to be special summoned Rocket Caliber 2 blocked by Bestial Lubellion, even if they did link off the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent here. But that probably shouldn't matter. Although, actually, they could summon Guard Dragon Pisty or some other card to this zone here where the Cerberus points to, and then they would be able to summon it to the zone on the right.
I see.
Yes, because it needs to be summoned to a zone that a link monster points to. It needs to be special summoned, actually.
Into a zone that one of Ian's link monsters
one of Ian's link monster points to. Now, linking off the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent here would, of course, get you the White Dragon Wyver Burster. What are we seeing here? What just happened? Oh, they're searching with Absor Router Dragon, aren't they? I think. Oh, never mind. They're searching with Bestial Lubellion. Okay. I forgot that added a branded card. What the heck does this do? If a light or dark monster is banished except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters, place it on the bottom of your deck. If you do draw a card, wow. Can only be used once per turn, and then once per turn if your opponent normally special summons a monster, you can target a Bestial, special summon it.
That's a pretty powerful effect.
That's a pretty powerful effect. This is actually indicative of modern card design. So you'll notice that a lot of the older cards here are doing very small things, right? Like, oh, I can special summon myself if this happens. And then another one's like, oh, I can also special summon myself if that happens. And then they're like doing a few little small things. Branded cards in particular are notable for being like, hey, you get the card you need. No like hoops to jump through. And then those cards say, here's interaction that you do. Like, here's this is going to be on your end board. You're welcome. Enjoy.
Right.
And this was in response to them, to Yu-Gi-Oh! Turns taking forever, which they do. Normally not this long, of course, because the players have read their cards in advance and know how to play the game. But still fairly long.
Right.
And involved turns. Okay.
Would that be comparable to sort of your, your stereotypical blue player in Magic?
So I would argue that blue player turns are very short when it's their turn. They tend to be quite long on the opponent's turn.
I see.
But
that is, I suppose it depends on the particular type of deck. But
yeah, but no, that is definitely analogous to like the combo players taking forever to do this stuff. Okay, and we are going to see...
We are seeing an Obliterate.
Yikes, yeah. This card is once per turn, but it is going to keep removing cards from the field. I'm still surprised we have not seen that Black Dragon Collapse Serpent leave the field yet. I really think that it should be gone to add the White Dragon Wyver Burster to hand.
I see.
Yeah, just another material that you could get. Literally just these two makes a branded, or not a branded, Boar Load Savage Dragon, which would be really crazy. But here's a Bestial. Yikes.
Right, and that was what we were, looking for with that.
So even though Zach outed the monster, there's still more that he has to deal with. Going to battle. Are we going to see Sengan? Okay, we're seeing Sengan go in for another Exodia piece.
And that dealt damage to Zach.
Yes. Yep.
I see. That's definitely a very different mechanic from anything I'm used to.
There's a lot of combat tricks in Yu-Gi-Oh! That make you gain a little bit of attack. And those used to be fairly playable because you would just, trade 2 for 1.
Ah, yep.
Yeah. Uh-oh. That looks like the end of the game, folks. Okay. Bestial Druisworm getting back to hand is not even that good, unfortunately. Because they can just summon it immediately again.
It appears as though there's still enough damage on board to end the game right now.
Did Zach side into the Battle Faders in his side deck? Let's find out. That is a nope then. Okay, huge Starly Safer. Yeah, that looks like it's just going to be game. Okay. And at the end, the Dragonlink player wins out. Unsurprising, meta sheep and all that. All right. Yeah. Well, a hard-fought battle, I think.
Yep, we definitely saw some interesting games.
Bestial's having a very big impact on both sides of the game. I think every game, actually.
Yeah, definitely. That, the graveyard play and the, powerful removal effects.
Yes, they're very, very strong cards, very good cards. And we're seeing some friendly sportsmanship afterwards. They're going for a little handshake to the face, seemingly.
Oh, that's a fist bump.
That's a fist bump. And we're all good, folks. Man. Hope to see you all back next week on Tuesday when we will be playing either League of Legends or Overwatch. Yeah.
Yeah, those are, pretty comparable games. In terms
Much
of...
like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, and Slappy Ball.
Oh, and Slappy. Yep, there will be Slappy Ball at some point. See ya.